threshold of an entrepreneurial revolution, entrepreneurship in India has never before created such a huge buzz. India's young from diverse educational and economic backgrounds every day are writing their success stories. Hello and welcome. Today on Startup Wednesday, we bring to you excerpts from a recently concluded mega startup event, TiECon 2015, where top startups and those who wanted to get there were all found under one roof.
It's a phenomenal time to be an entrepreneur. It's a phenomenal time because the pace of innovation is only increasing and the ability to innovate is becoming more and more mass market. It's becoming an opportunity for every one of us, not just restricted to people in Silicon Valley, restricted to people in different parts of the world. That opportunity exists for everyone around the world. That's fine. So we have a phenomenal opportunity. The question is, are you ready as entrepreneurs? Do you have the appetite? Do you have the risk appetite to be an entrepreneur in this environment? But before we talk about that, let's talk about India. In the last 10 or 15 years, when have you had a situation where the leadership in the country is standing up and talking about, let's create a startup culture? Hasn't happened in the history of India. If you haven't had somebody stand up and say, we're going to make fast-track things happen for entrepreneurs, we're going to make policy initiatives to look and help entrepreneurs in this country so that people can go start up different things. They're looking at different sectors, different policy initiatives, and it's great. Sometimes just that directional hint from the top actually creates a much better, much easier environment for all of us to operate. I know doing business in India is not that easy. But imagine, it's like taking doing one of those difficulty level 10 jumps in gymnastics as opposed to difficulty level 2 jumps, right? If you can do something in difficulty level 10, it becomes way easy. So if you guys can execute and deliver in this environment, you can execute and deliver in any environment in the world. So it's a great time to be an entrepreneur because of all that is going on from a technology perspective, but also it's a great time to be an entrepreneur in India. So then the question is, great, now we've got the environment working, what do we do, right? Are you ready? People always try and understand why have so many companies come out of Silicon Valley? Why have people been so successful out of Silicon Valley? Can we replicate it? So I think the environment here is ready. It's going to allow you to replicate it. Now the question is, are you ready? When I was growing up, and I came out of college, it didn't happen to me. My parents were somewhat progressive, but I can tell you, 35 out of the 40 people in my class, their parents were busy looking for girls for the boys. Saying, beta, ab achhi naukri mil gayi hai, ab tu shaadi kar le. Right? You understand this concept? It's a concept only, I can only say that in Hindi because it's very hard for people who in the West to understand this notion of settle down. Right? As if with all these restless people running around, ab tum settle down kar jao. Right? And settling down means getting a job, getting married and having kids. And you're extremely settled when you have 3 young kids running around pulling your hair, and a wife, and a house, and a car, right? That's settling down. I'm like settled like nobody else's business, right? But that's cultural, isn't it? Like all of our parents want us to settle down. I was talking to Bhavish, guys might know Bhavish started this company called Ola. Right? His father was very unhappy. He's left IIT Bombay. He says, beta, tu travel agent ban gaya? He says, Dad, no, I'm not a travel agent. But beta, tum to taxi balate logon ke liye. Like getting taxis is not that high class a job when he came out of IIT Bombay. So the question also comes up is, it's not just about the environment, it's about your risk appetite. Because entrepreneurship is about taking risk and having a high risk appetite. Now culturally people try and bring us down and get us to settle down. And the good news is I'm seeing today's generation has that fire, has that passion, has that confidence that they're saying, I don't need to get trapped into this notion of settling down. But my request to all of you guys is take some time to settle down, take a little more risk and be a little more entrepreneurial before you start to settle down. Because the opportunity in front of you is humongous, it's huge, it's phenomenal. Don't let go of it. So if you believe that, if you're going to do that, if you're going to become an entrepreneur, then I'm going to leave you with 4 or 5 thoughts, right? So when you think about an idea, you've got to make sure you have an idea. You've got to make sure you have a big idea. And then try not to get it settled down. You know? How does an idea settle down? So let me go talk to 10 people about it. Let me do some market research. Right? If Steve Jobs had gone and done market research on whether we should build a phone without a keyboard, everybody ever used a phone would have said, how stupid are you? So the first step when you're trying to be an entrepreneur, make sure whatever idea you think of, make sure that idea is a big idea and make sure you don't get it tempered down by people around you. So sometimes I sit with entrepreneurs saying, well, we're going to do this, and this. But if you look at all the great companies that are out there, they started with one very simple idea, right? Whether it was Bhavish trying to get a cab, or whether it's Chad Hurley trying to post a video up on YouTube, whether it was Larry Page trying to search something on the internet, whether it was Evan Spiegel trying to make a picture vanish in under 15 seconds. That's all we remember, right? They had one idea, one big idea that became a very big idea. They didn't have 22 ideas where they added them all up and say, ab ye bada, this has become big. Did anybody of you ever see a Google ad in the first 10 years of the existence of Google? Did any of you ever see a Facebook ad in the first 10 years of Facebook's existence? There are lots and lots of companies out there which actually did not have to advertise because their product was so good. And there is this huge myth that people say, but I'm going to be the first mover, sir. If I'm not a first mover, somebody's going to come take it away. Google was the 16th search engine in the world, 1/6, right? It wasn't the first one. iPhone was not the first phone ever made. There was this company called Nokia. You guys remember that? So there are companies out there which have existed in that space. It doesn't matter if you're first or not. It matters if you've built an amazing product, if you built a product that people want to use. So when you're executing, make sure you're building a business where unit economics makes sense, where you're building a great product, you're trying to get this consumer to love you. Because remember, it's not like a sprint, it's a marathon. It's going to take you a long time. So with that, I hope all of you are going to go out there and become amazing entrepreneurs. I hope all of you are going to go follow your dream and execute it all the way to the end. Thank you very much.
As Mr. Arora said, it indeed seems like a phenomenal time to be an entrepreneur in India. But building sustainable organizations requires more than just a good idea. Catch Natasha Job talking to Facebook India MD Kritika Reddy about her take on work-life balance and Facebook's India plans.
Well, Facebook and their big plans for India. With me now, Kritika Reddy, MD Facebook India. Kritika, thanks so much for taking our time to speak to us. Just a few weeks after we saw the big town hall there in the US with Mark Zuckerberg and the Prime Minister, we're now hearing that Mark Zuckerberg himself writing on Facebook that he's going to be in India shortly for a town hall. Fair to then say that it's very apparent that Facebook ticking all the boxes then for India and vice versa.
So India is the second largest market for Facebook when it comes to the number of users and people sharing and connecting on Facebook. If you look at where the next billion is going to come, a large percentage are going to come from India. It goes back also to our mission. Our mission is about giving people the power to share and connect, and we still have 1 billion people in India to connect, and as such, an important market for us.
We heard about the town hall that you spoke of. Every Friday, Mark has one, and then people all over the world in Facebook are connecting. Give us a sense of what we can expect from the town hall here that he'll be having soon. And how excited is Facebook, really, the thought of it, you as the head of Facebook India in particular?
It's exciting to see that spirit of openness that we have seen in the company over the years, also extending to people outside of Facebook. And Mark has done these town halls in several different locations now. And I think what we should expect to see in India is similar along those lines, where we will ask people what is it that they want to hear from Mark. Everyone has an opportunity to vote on it. You can expect the same candor and insights that Mark always has in all of these sessions.
You've been with Facebook 5 years. You were their first employee in India. You described it as your dream job. Has it also been a dream run?
It has been the most intense and the most intensely satisfying experience. To work for a company that is so mission driven and to have the opportunity to build out our operations in India and to still feel that we're just getting started, that's a pretty neat combination.
I know you're rushed. I'll ask you one last question. There are so many women out there, and men, I hope, who would be interested in hearing this. You spoke briefly there about a work-life balance, about being full-time boss of Facebook in India, full-time mom, and every other role of mother, daughter, sister, wife, etc. Is there a thing as a work-life balance, you think, Kritika?
I don't believe that there is such a thing as work-life balance. Truly what we should be thinking about is work-life integration, because as I said, as I have this conversation with you, I am still a full-time mom and a full-time professional and all of the other roles that I have. And two things. One, I want people to think about a superpower called the power of the and. There are ways that you combine different things to tick off several boxes. And at Facebook, we have the concept of and the belief in bringing your whole self to work. and the product makes it easy for us to do that as well. So we're just connected both at a personal and a professional level, much more so than I have seen in any other company across the world.
Right. Last question, I promise. How do you see yourself, your role in Facebook and Facebook here in India playing out, changing over the next, say, 5 years?
It has been, I think the best way I can answer that is to reflect back on the last 5.5 years. Right? When we first started, extreme focus on building the right culture, extreme focus on bringing in the right people, and the belief that if you build the right culture, hire the right people, the business results will come. Our focus then was building our operations office, and over the course of time, our focus now has also expanded to the revenue, the monetization side. As you look out at this exciting entrepreneurial ecosystem and you see them turning to Facebook to grow their business, it has been fascinating to be able to partner with them to help them grow their business. So I'm excited about what the ecosystem is going and the role that we can play in this growth.
Kritika, thanks very much and all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now that you know about Mark Zuckerberg's India plans, don't forget to register yourself. Now at 21, Ritesh Agrawal, founder of Oyo Rooms, one of India's biggest hotel aggregators, is still the youngest professional in his company. Next up, watch him talk about how to deal with the naysayers.
What stops a lot of us from building great companies is when you're very small, if you run out of your house naked, a lot of people will be like, shame, 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 right? The only difference, it continues through your life, but it gets quieter over a period. So, you know, when you're in 8th grade and you got the 6th rank in your class, and you say proudly to your neighbor that, you know, my kid got 6th rank, the guy will say great stuff, but silently would say, but second nahi aaya, mere wale ko dekho. So it gets better over a period of time. And the end point is when you get out of college and you say, startup mein mujhe naukri mili hai. The person will be like, oh, brilliant, startups, we hear so much. And inside, to Infosys mein to nahi hui, to what's the big deal, right? So one thing that I learned, that if you're doing a startup, you have to be shameless. Because if you're always trying to, you know, quietly have the shame thing, you'll never be able to do things which people usually do.
Phenomenal. What Ritesh has also done really well, and I know that he has built a team, and I guess it's his philosophy of surrounding himself with good people. He's got really good guys from obviously older. Is there anyone younger than you in your company?
Not now, but after this year, campus recruitments, yes.
You are the youngest guy right now in your company?
Now, yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting feeling. What's the mantra of A, attracting good people? And it's not only salary and stock, I know. And B, and I think that's really important, so what keeps you grounded?
So I think the first one is directly related to the second one. So I think very early in our lifetime, I realized that bringing good people is so very important. Especially people who are committed to the long-term vision of the company, who have the ability to say that I'm going to be around you for the next 15, 20 years because I feel so passionately about the vision as much as you do. So I think very early I remember having conversations with my advisors saying, people whom I would surround myself with, saying, I just can't hire good people, it's just becoming so difficult for me. At that point of time, everyone who would agree to work with me, I had to bring that person on board because nobody else would even agree to work with me. I think, and that was a serious mistake. I think over time what I've learned is surrounding yourself with great people is important. And the way to do it is not trying to attract them, which is so counterintuitive, right? If you continue working really, really hard and trying to solve a problem and you're so passionate about it, a lot of people will get attracted to you.
We will give you some time to plot your strategy to hire the right kind of people for your startup. And in the meantime, we will slip into a quick break. But don't go anywhere as we'll be back in almost no time.